Hey guys, Alegre-Wood, author of the best-selling book The 3+1 Plan and chairman of YPC Group. Today I want to cover two questions that we get asked all the time when people first start working out with YPC Group, which is firstly, why we only deal with new build, and secondly, how can we get the discounts that we do get from developers in working with new build. So I want to cover both those questions, and they're two very intertwined, because one of the things you're going to realise is that what it comes down to is three key factors, and I'll talk to you about them soon. But look, let me introduce why new build, because it's an interesting story. When we first started out, it wasn't a case we were just doing new build. We were doing second-hand stuff, we were doing refurb stuff, a whole range of things. But what I realised very quickly was my whole philosophy around investing is set and forget. Yeah? Everything should be set up so that on a day-to-day basis you can forget about it. All right? Now the issue I was having was that we were selling lots of property, okay? We were selling lots of property, but by far the majority of the property that we had that was second-hand or refurbs or things like this, they were presenting problems for us. They were coming back and things weren't done right, things had to be put right, and what it ended up costing was the invested money, okay? Not only money, but time, hassle, all this sort of stuff. So the first point I'll come to with why new build is set and forget. It wasn't really allowing my clients to set and forget their portfolio. Now, some of these things, yeah, they had to be fixed up by developers and things like that, but obviously with second-hand, the developer or the person who sold it to them, they don't want to know about it, all right? So then it's left on the investor's hands. Now, the issue with that is, if you're off in a foreign country, if you're too busy to handle it, then that can present a problem. So what we decided very quickly was, pretty much, we didn't want that hassle, and I didn't want that hassle as a business person. What I found was the bits I enjoyed about my business were the new build stuff. The bits that I didn't enjoy was when stuff went wrong with the second-hand things. And so really, when I looked at it, we cut it out. So we cut that out in about 2009. We just stopped doing it altogether. 2010 maybe. We just stopped doing it altogether. Now we're just focused on new build, and we have done ever since. And to be fair, my level of stress is a lot better, and I'm sure the investors' levels of stress is a lot better too. One of the other things, the reason why we do new build, is this strategy called off-plan, okay? Which means you can buy something that isn't built. Now, standard practice is, if you're buying a home, and for most investors, what they want to see is a physical product. They want to see the end result. But the great thing is, because the way developers are structured, and I'll talk you through this is why the discount side of things very soon, you can get in phase one, phase two, while they're still building the property and actually make money without having owned it. And what it means is, for a very small portion of the money you'd have to do on a completed property, you can own that and make money out of it. So it brings in another way to make money from property, and that's one of the reasons why I really love it. And certainly when the market's coming up and the market's shooting up, off-plan is a fantastic strategy. You'll make a lot of money from off-plan by doing it correctly and by doing it in the right phase of the property cycle. The other side of it is it suits most people. Look, the thing you don't want is the hassle, the worry, the concern, the things going wrong, the constant hassle of a property. And new build takes away a lot of that. Now, that's not to say you're not going to have problems with new build. You will, but what you find is a lot of times the developers are there to fix them, or they're very easy fixes, okay? So I'm not saying you're not going to have problems with new build, but what I find is a huge difference in that second-hand property, lots of problems, new build, very few problems, and easy to fix problems, okay? So, suits most people. Look, most people don't have the time, the expertise to go out and source property themselves. They don't have time to negotiate, they don't have time to build the relationship that needs to be done. So by doing it this way, and by doing new build and using a company such as ours, we do a lot of that stuff for you, so you can get on with living your life however you want to live that, okay? The final thing was the quality of tenant. What I find is the type of people that live in a new apartment are generally a better quality of tenant, all right? And that's just because obviously the rent might be a little bit higher, it's a newer property, it attracts the right type of tenant. So certainly if you're an overseas investor looking to invest in London or the UK, then it just adds that little bit extra where you're taking away one of the risks, or you're mitigating one of the risks slightly. That means you're not going to have the hassle factor. And for me, that's enough to say that now I only buy new build property, and I have only bought new build property. I've never bought second-hand property in the UK. All right. So let's now get on to the new build premium. Okay. And what I mean by that is, one of the things that people invest in second-hand, they talk about new build and say, oh, you don't want to do that, it's too expensive. As with most new things, there is a premium. If you buy a new car, drive it off the parking lot, the value decreases. And that kind of happens in a similar way with property. Now what you're looking at is about 5% of the price is what we call a new build premium. So if you look at a comparative property in the same area, similar property, all that sort of thing, you're probably going to find it around about 5% less than what you're going to pay for new. But if you think about all the benefits you're getting, new property that you're going to have to paint, you're not going to have to look after, it's definitely worth it. And that new build premium, what happens is, it'll be over the next 5 years, it'll slowly, come back to where it's second-hand effectively, all right? And the price will match the second-hand property. So for me, it's not a big drama. Where it becomes a drama is when you get sold by a salesperson. So they'll say that all property is this price, when in actual fact, the second-hand property is this, and they just jack up the price of the new build, which has been, a systemic issue in the UK marketplace. Not so much now, not so much since 2008, okay, but certainly prior to 2008, it was getting up with a new build premium could be 15–20%, and look, it could even go beyond that, but that was more when people weren't doing research, they were getting sold no money down deals and all this. You stay away from that sort of side of things and you don't have this problem. About 5% is a new build premium. Okay guys, have a great day, and remember, live with passion.